there's anyone from Utah or not just from Utah, but if you're on the chat in X, on YouTube, or on Rumble, I am paying attention to the chat. I want this information to get out there. A lot of this I just barely became aware of. Like I was saying before, I do live in Utah, and I can say exactly why living in Utah, things are the way we are. And from my perspective, from my understanding of life, guys, is Utah, we're taught at a young age to get married, to have kids, to have a family, to go out and repopulate the earth. And it's supposed to be all about your family. Well, because of that, we get wrapped up into our family. Well, for me, social media, I've been on social media for almost has it been quite just about a year and a half. I'd never been on. I had Facebook to stay in touch with friends that lived out of the state that I met in college. Before then, though, I didn't do any chat groups. I didn't do any of that stuff. So once the whole 2020 thing came, and I realized that me, stupid person, voted for Biden because I bought the lying Mockingbird media. And the last couple of weeks, I'm like, "Oh, Utah's doing really good. Our crime rates are really low. Everything is going good." And then I've connected with people from Utah that are actually reporting the real news, and I'm like, "Holy crap. They're doing what? They're allowing illegal aliens into our state? What? We're not a sanctuary state. Why are they do that?" Excuse me, doing that. And then it's like, what? They're doing that and they're giving them money? They're giving them housing and jobs that Utahns should have? I'm all for and I guess part of our Utah culture too is we are very one of our core values is community service and giving of others. Like that is like really huge, like really big on community. So you have someone that comes here and they're down on their luck. We're going to lend a helping hand. We're going to do whatever we can. A year ago, last year, in the middle of summer, I have this huge tree. It's bigger than my house. And a huge old tsunami storm came through, and one of the branches fell on my house. Within 3 hours, and it was huge. I'm telling you, it was like big around. Within 3 hours, my neighbors had a crew of people. They all had their chainsaws. Within 3 hours, that wood was cut, removed, and stacked in the backyard. That's kind of what the community here is. So with that being said, what we do is we get complacent. We trust that we're always going to be a red state. We're never going to turn blue. We're always going to be just fine. Right? That's the mentality we have. I started getting educated after Biden, after we went to Ukraine. I was already educated on the whole um, shots that you guys should have every single year. Dr. Fauci's absolutely amazing, and you should trust every word he says. That is just for you, YouTube. See? So I did a lot of research during that time of my life, and then I started getting into politics. And I was not really into politics except for I'm poor under Biden. Governor Cox is not any better. If I were to take the two, I would say that they are pretty much the exact same. And we ask ourselves, why do we have so many rhinos in our government? And in my personal opinion, is because we don't take the time to vet them. We don't take the time to actually see what policies that they're actually implementing and doing behind the scenes. So when you start having communication and you're starting to be able to compile a bunch of data, you're like, oh, you're crooked. You're not really a Republican. You're a Democrat pretending to be a Republican so that you can turn our country a certain way that we don't want. And especially for Utah, it goes against our way of life. They've brought big companies into the state, the CHIPS Act. That whole thing is going to bring companies to Utah to make chips. They are doing a lot of things behind the scenes. So that is kind of what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to specifically focus on DEI. I'm going to go through a thread from a guy named Thomas Stevenson. I do have his permission to use his information. So I'm going to put up his banner real quick, and I want you guys to make sure that you follow him. This was great work. And when I read it, I was like, oh, I've got to let everybody know about this. And why am I doing this now? Why is this urgent? Why am I doing streams on this right now? Well, Governor Cox was not even supposed to be on the ballot. Phil Lyman won the caucus in Utah. He was supposed to be on the ballot. So what does Cox do? Him and I think it was her name. I always call her Henderson. That's easier to say. Excuse me. Henderson goes and figures out how to get 80,000 signatures to get him on the ballot. There's a special little loophole in our voting system. It's SB something or other. I'll read it to you in a minute. But it allows that if this candidate was not on the ballot for the general election, they had so many percent of signatures, then they could be on the ballot. So pretty much created a runoff. Phil Lyman won the caucus with over 60% of the votes. Spencer Cox got 32%. So out of nowhere, out of his butt, he pulls 81,006 votes to get on the ballot. So now they're having a runoff, and they will not provide the list of the people who signed it. So I was like, oh, well, they should be private. What I learned last night during my stream was the reason why it's not. If you're signing a petition, the signatures can be public. And that's from my understanding of the Utah law. When they decided to change our flag, which nobody wanted to change our flag except for these weirdos, and I'll say that weirdos wanted to change our flag. Why? Why are we trying to change things to be like other countries? I don't understand it one bit. So every single one of those people that signed the petition, every single one of them is on a website with all of their names and signatures. So they're trying to say it's privacy, it's this and that. And at the end of the day, they're just not being transparent. And when a state is not being transparent with you, what are they doing behind the scenes? What else are they doing? So then you start digging a little deeper and you're like, oh my hell, this is what you are really doing. You're doing all of this stuff behind the scenes. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about those things tonight. We're going to go through a thread. I'm going to try not to be as excited as I was last night. When I do, I tend to talk quick and no one can hear or understand what I'm saying. So we're going to try to make this a good conversation. So chat participation is always welcome. I want to welcome Julian Saying that are over there in my Rumble chat. I don't have very many people over on YouTube, but I did not laugh out, breathe, breathe. Yes. I did not send out notifications because I did not know when I was going to start. And YouTube, for whatever reason, I don't know. You guys know YouTube. Oh, yeah, that's what else I'm going to show you. I've actually got screenshots. I ate before I did this. I usually won't eat before I stream because then it's like, what? I'm going to show you screenshots of Instagram stuff and I think Facebook, a couple others that simple, I am voting for Phil Lyman was it terrorist propaganda? I don't know. Hate, I'll show them to you. I saw them, I'm like, "Really? Really? This is what they did, guys, in 2016. Google took over the algorithm, they suppressed Republicans, and they promoted Democrats. That's just what they did. This is a reason why we have rhinos. They're getting smart. The Democrats are getting smart. They're finding these candidates that are willing to switch parties and run as a Republican and yet still have that true blue mentality. Let's get back to the way it was before. Small government, right? Is that so much to ask for? All right. Before I pull up all of this stuff, I do want to give a shout out to my dear friend Julian. And let's pull up his little give, send, go real quick. All right, so here is Julian. Let's go to the private chat and share this. Yeah, get your this is not tinfoil hat stuff. This is all the stuff I'm going to share tonight is going to be backed up. And I'm going to share you guys. You guys can go back and you can see all the information that I'm going to give you. And I'm still dying of what they're doing to Utah and the guys that they're doing it under. Okay, so here we go. So this is a give, send, go for Julian. All right, he's still at $2,147, guys. We've gotta get him up there. He is not currently able to work. As of 2 weeks ago, he was working full time. He had to have a new stent put in for his kidneys, so he can't work right now. He has house, he has rent, he lives alone, Not saying he's a weird, creepy dude, but he lives alone, and there's only so much you can do. He's a 38-year-old guy from Michigan, outside of Detroit, in laugh out loud. Scroll down. Hold on. So in 2019, his kiddies decided to call it quits, and then COVID happened in 2020, and his roommate April, no, not April, in April took her own life. So it's been a weird expensive couple of years for him. I know that this Biden economy really sucks. If you have the ability to help him out, it would be much appreciated. Also, sharing with other peoples is also helping him out. So if you get the chance, I'll post the links for you guys. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this, and you'll get sick of me saying this, but I'm gonna do it all the time because 'cause I'm trying to help him out. Okay. Somalia West. Yeah, Somalia is in the West. What state is that in, Sangla? Is that, Maine? Which state is, oh, is it Ilhan Omar? Okey doke. Okay, so we're gonna go over a couple different things. So, the number one issue right now in Utah, which people don't realize that this is the number one chatter issue, is immigration in Utah and the border. That is the number one issue that we have going on. And if you're a candidate out there or you're a supporter of Phil Lyman, you need to drive that home that Spencer Cox is letting these people in here. And when he got called out on it, he lied to us. He lied to us about it. And I think that's very dishonest. And that is probably why I'm most mad about everything is the fact I hate being lied to, especially when you figure out the truth and you feel stupid for being duped. So, Mockingbird Media, you can screw off too. None of this stuff is covered in the news. I've looked at Utah. I've scoured to find stuff on this. And if they do talk about it, they spin everything negative against Phil Lyman. Now, the way that they can manipulate our elections like that, and it's not just in Utah. I'm just blown away because I live here and it's like, "Oh, we're gonna be red. It's fine. My vote doesn't matter, right? They're gonna vote Republican anyway." No, it does matter. Things have changed. They've brought people into this state and giving them money, giving them IDs, making it so they can drive, giving them shelter, uh, jobs, schooling, daycare, you name it, they're getting it. And they're getting it over people who live here who do need it. I'm all for giving. I'm all for giving people, but come here the right way. Do it the right way. Okay, so I've got a couple of things that we're gonna do. I'm gonna go over first. I've got to push pause on my cam for 3 seconds. Hold on. I got an itchy nose. Sorry about that. My nose was going out of control itchy, and I didn't want to itch it on camera. Okay, so the first order of business, guys, that we are gonna pull up is got everything saved in a nice little neat spot over here, so hopefully I can pull everything up rather easily. Okay, I met that this is a new person that I met online, and he has also given me permission to use his stuff, so thank you. I'll pull up his name once I get this video pulled up. Alright, here we go. Let me click on his name really quick. Let's get him up there because I want you to follow him as well. His name is I'm gonna slaughter his name, so apologies ahead of time. It's Eric Moutzus, something like that. Anyway, he shared a video with me and gave me permission to use it. Let's put his name up here for you. Unfortunately, guys, I don't have a production crew. I do this all on my own, so you get to deal with me having to click through and put everything up for you. Okay, so this is a guy, Eric Moutzus. So I don't know how you say that. Hopefully that's right. Anyway, he put together a good video. I think he did it several months ago about the election, and we're gonna pull that up once I get it on the big screen. Yeah, it went back properly. All right, if you guys are not able to hear this, will you please make sure that you let me know? So this is pretty much everything that's how they stole our election. Who is the extremist? Spencer Cox? Because it's definitely not Phil Lyman, guys, or the thousands of delegates who support him. So this is really what's going on right here.
State convention. And in what was supposed to be a compelling speech for people to get behind him, great great news for the state of Utah. Phil Lyman absolutely obliterates Spencer Cox in the GOP state convention. And in what was supposed to be a compelling speech for people to get behind him, Spencer Cox decides to go after the constituents because a few people booed him and disagreed with him the way that Spencer didn't like to be disagreed with.
I am so proud to be welcomed here today, the same way you have welcomed lots of Republican governors over the years. Governor Herbert got booed here and lost by 10 points, but won by 40 points in a Republican primary. You booed Orrin Hatch, you booed Norman Baker.
And why is Governor Cox bringing the LDS Church into this equation?
You even booed the president of the General Relief Society of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 2000. And why are we booing today? Maybe you're upset that I signed the largest tax cut in Utah history. Maybe you hate that I signed constitutional carry. Or maybe it's something much more simple. Maybe you just hate that I don't hate enough.
So this is a translation for those that don't speak disagree better passive aggressive political language. It doesn't matter what you think. I'm going to win anyways.
Governor Herbert got booed here and lost by 10 points, but won by 40 points in a Republican primary.
I get the signatures. I own the media. Your voice doesn't matter. And if you think this was just an off-the-cuff reaction to a bunch of people booing him, oh no. This is how he feels about your voice being heard.
Delegates. Who's most likely to show up on a random Tuesday in March to meetings that routinely last 3 or 4 hours and where people argue incessantly about Robert's Rules of Orders and the agenda, and they fight about stuff? Who's most likely to love that crap? Okay. All right. Here it is. People who are really, really, really passionate. Okay. And maybe some people who are extremists.
I think I hope this video came from YouTube. I'm really hoping this video came from YouTube because I'm going to get a copyright on this already, but that's okay. One thing that I've learned when he was first running for office, I was like, okay, yeah, Spencer Cox, I'm going to vote for him. He's a Republican. And when he was first running, I was like, oh, yeah, he's not going after all these candidates. He's not going in their face. He's not calling them names. He's not calling them a piece of crap, right? And he knows that in Utah, we're not. If you've ever been to Utah and you've met the people here, most people in Utah are really, really nice people. They would give you the shirt off their back. That's our culture. What he is doing is being very passive aggressive. So he's not directly going at us. He's going at us through a roundabout way, and he's very condescending about it.
Maybe some people who are extremists.
The extremists. This is from the same person that champions transgender issues, that vetoed a bill that would prohibit men from playing against women in women's sports. The same person that uses pronouns to little kids on.
He, him is his pronouns. He is a he, him. That he uses his pronouns. And what he is doing right there, if you guys didn't catch it, what he's saying right there is he's referring to MAGA supporters. It's very slight. It's very passive aggressive. MAGA supporters right there. I'm a MAGA supporter. Why? Because I got educated. I got into rooms where people who were part of the J6, I've met these people. I've had conversations with these people, and there is nothing violent about them. There's nothing extreme about them. They were 100% infiltrated, and I will take that to my grave. I've talked about this in length, and I know exactly how they do it. And so he's going through the back door to try to say that these people are extreme. Pay attention.
On Zoom calls.
Student town hall. And my preferred pronouns are he, him, and his.
And were the extremists the same person that helped shut down your small business during COVID? The same person that equated wearing a mask to Moses' staff, which was supposed to represent Jesus Christ? And were the extremists the same person that said, I don't care?
Did I just see a serpent on that staff? Did you guys see that? He put a staff up there that has a serpent on it. I didn't catch that before. Holy crap.
Why, just wear the damn mask? The same person that pushed the death jab upon hundreds of thousands of people in the state of Utah, and now tens of thousands have died suddenly or other illnesses from it, and he still.
Guys, you all should get triple and quadruple and 10 times jabbed, okay? Make sure you see your physician because they know best. I wholeheartedly disagree with what he is saying right now. For all of you who are on YouTube watching right now,
Still hasn't said sorry. And we're the extremists, the delegates that are trying to vote for people that will help maintain our rights and our God-given liberties. This is the same person that uses profanity and puts his fists on somebody's chest when asked simple questions about smart cities.
It's not a smart city. I don't know what you're talking about. No, we're going. Look, I know what you're trying to do. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such thing as a smart city. So stop making up stuff, okay? To try to make me look bad. You're really good at this. You make up shit and then you try to make us look bad. I don't have a website about this. Why don't you have a conversation about it?
see, lying to our faces. Smart cities is a thing. Smart cities have been building the infrastructure for smart cities since 2003. They started putting the plan in place, I think it was Speaker Nancy Pelosi in front of Congress, without saying it, but saying it out loud, was paving the pathway for these smart cities. They have been putting this infrastructure in place. He is blatantly lying. The land is put aside. And that is why they are gatekeeping our land in Utah. We have so much beautiful land where I can go anywhere from the highway and be in the mountains within 15, 20 minutes. There's so much beautiful land that they're not even allowing us to go see, all in this name of climate change. Yeah, climate change. That's a thing. We can't go on land because of climate change, or um, I I don't even know, but they are blocking off our roads and not letting us go and see our nature. There's such beautiful things here, and it's such vast. You got the sands, and you got the sandy rock in the southern Utah, and then you have like the foresty green stuff in the central to northern Utah. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. But they are just, oh, look, you can't go on this land anymore. They put up fences, they put up gates. What are they trying to hide? That's what I want to know.
Because you don't like to have real conversation.
I'm right. You're asking for the
And I just told you that there's no such thing as a smart city. We're developing a new piece of land for the state. You like to make up these conspiracies. It's great for you. I know it's good for your brand. I hope it works for you. But you don't get to make up shit about it. Okay?
Oh, and I forgot to mention, it's the same person that lied about the smart cities.
About what's happening out there, how incredible it is, how awesome it is, what an amazing utopia we're headed towards in the nature of education, and how we alter that in positive ways that will impact us while we're living in our smart cities and our smart cars are taking us and everything's smart. But sometimes the people aren't smart enough for the jobs that are being created.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such thing as a smart city. So stop making up stuff.
Right there, Spencer Cox, guys. If you are on board with the WHO and their plans, guys, by all means, vote for Spencer Cox. Please do. Right there were talking points. Nature, utopia. Plans are already being implemented in place. Yeah, we're not smart enough, guys. Right there, not smart enough. We are just a bunch of useless eaters. That's what he's saying right there. Useless eaters. He didn't say those exact words, but that's what he's implying. We're too stupid to know better. But yes, Utahns are stupid because why? We're busy raising our kids, and I'm like one of the most naive people on this planet. Ask my friend Rex. He tells me all the time, and I know of the world, but I don't know these like how people act outside of Utah. We are trusting. We're like, you tell me something and you give me your word, I'm going to believe you. It's good faith. I trust you. Not anymore. I still trust people, but if I meet you face to face, I'll probably trust you. I don't anymore. We just trust. This politician says this. Well, good. He's going to do a good job, right? So he works behind the scenes, and you have to go digging to find it.
To try to make me look bad.
And we're the extreme ones. And this is the same person that has repeatedly stated online that he wants to punch people in the face. This is also the same person that jumped the gun on a fake race-based story, Jussie Smollett style, at BYU volleyball, where a handicapped kid got kicked out for simply saying, "You're going to hit it in the net." But it didn't stop Spencer Cox from calling him a racist a-hole. You don't see that anywhere in the news archives. But let's get back to the convention and all the extremists roaming around like January 6th wanting...
Okay, don't forget this, guys. Spencer Cox is pro, and we're going to get into this when we go through this thread. I'm just kind of setting the playground for, let's see what lies we can spot through this article that we're going to read. He took COVID funding to fund DEI. And then when he was running for governor again during the primaries or whatever gubernatorial race to get back on the ballot, he rescinded it. He canceled it. No more. But what they did is they renamed it. The same ideology is still there. They're just going to give it a different name and kind of go about it a little bit differently.
Freedom and liberty. After Spencer and Deidre lose almost 70% to 30% to Phil Lyman, this is what Deidre Henderson has to say. And the GOP convention is no longer a family-friendly environment. No thank yous to the almost 4,000 people that came to the convention. I'm mortified by the vulgarity and viciousness that my young nieces were exposed to. But I was a state delegate.
Okay, right there. Right there, she's playing on. This is another thing that is of Utah. This is weird. I'm giving you the norms of how this is for me. This is how I was raised. Whether you're religious or not, you're not taught. You don't cuss in public, right? Especially for women. It's just that you just don't. It's a control thing. You should be able to control your tongue and be able to speak politely. Well, I only swear when those words are necessary. It's very few and it's very far between. So Spencer Cox knows that the majority of the population here doesn't curse. Well, especially they might in private at their homes because, people do that. But in public, they don't usually. So he's playing off of what people think. Oh, you're a bad person if you swear. I don't give a crap if you swear. That doesn't offend me. It doesn't bother me. I just choose not to do so. One, I want to be able to have my shows played wherever, if there's kids around, or if you're working, if you have a bunch of swear words, especially in Utah, people are going to be turned off. So that's my preference. I don't care if other people do that. But Spencer Cox does know that the people here don't like that. He's totally passive aggressive, pandering behind the scenes.
With almost 4,000 others, and I didn't hear any vulgarity. In fact, the only vulgarity that I heard was from the man standing on stage with Deidre Henderson's boss, Spencer Cox, saying,
"There's been a lot of bullshit that I've heard at this convention, and it's not true. So, vote for Spencer Cox."
Are we disagreeing better now? Yes, these are people that took their entire day who disagree with him. This is how they disagree better. They booed you. Not that big of a deal, but to him, it's a big deal. And then Deseret News decides to make a hit piece that says convention reveals disgraceful behavior. Is it the sign of the times? Yes, Deseret News. It is the sign of the times. Kind of like the scriptures warn us when the people start questioning the government and they silence them. So it's clear, Spencer Cox and Deidre Henderson, you don't represent the people. Now you need to cast us as this far-right extreme group. You don't have the confidence of the people who were chosen to not choose you. We have to get involved with this race. We need all hands on deck. LymanForUtah.com. If we don't, this state will go purple, which it is, right over to blue in just a matter of a few years. Don't just talk about it. Go and donate to his campaign right now. We need Phil Lyman for Utah governor.
Okay, so that's kind of give you an overview. All state politician contribution. Yeah, I think that all contributions should be published. I've actually been looking for a specific company to see if they fund Spencer Cox, and I'm pretty sure that they do. However, anytime that I say this word, I get deboosted on X. I get deboosted or striked on YouTube, so I won't say it on here, and I'll just continue to look and go through back channels. But I guarantee that he is part of this group that is funded by a company that is trying to make it work us towards you. I want to say transhumanism because that's the correct term, and what it really is augmented reality. And I've done lots of videos on it, so I'm not just like, oh, this is just a thing. I've researched it. I've gone down the paper trail. I've gone down the rabbit hole. And I guarantee that company, because they've done a lot of the experimentations here in Utah, which I didn't know about. They've already been trying it out on our children here, which is disgusting. And the parents have no clue what they're really doing. They are gathering all of their data. They are making a digital clone of them. And that's going to be way above lots of your heads. I'm still coming to reality and trying to grasp what it all means. It's terrifying. I don't want to live in a world where I live in my house hooked up to goggles, working, pretending I'm outside. I like to be active. Okay, so that is kind of an idea. Let's do a little disclaimer right now. I am not part of Phil Lyman's campaign. I'm not paid by anybody. No one has contacted me to make a video. This is me, a concerned Utah citizen who still has not received my primary mail-in ballot. So now I have to figure out on Tuesday or Monday how to go vote in person, which I will. Okay, I will do that. I'm going to do that. The whole reason I switched from independent to Republican was so that I could vote in the primaries because I'm sick of these fake, here we go, swear word, fake ass rhinos passing laws that are not benefiting my state, my city, or my country for that matter. And so I'm going to take the advice of everyone who has given me advice, and I'm going to vote at the local level. That's where I can make a difference. And I'm hoping that maybe 20 people out there will see this video that lives in Utah that will be like, crap, it's time to go out and vote. Let's see what else he has to say here. Okay, I thought that was part of a thread. I think it's just another picture. Okay, so let's go. Before we get too far into that, I want to pull up a couple of the things that were taken down. I should not have eaten before I did a stream. Bad idea. Hold on, I gotta go to my bookmarks. While I am finding the bookmark for this, guys, please make sure that you hit the thumbs up or the heart button on all 3 platforms. That kind of helps boost me out there and get me get more people watching this video. This is not a time that I normally stream. I usually stream later at night. I'm hoping to catch more people during the daytime that can share this information and hopefully get it out there to more people. Hold on. I don't ever get on, I'm hardly ever on X on my computer. So navigating it is like a foreign thing to me, which sounds really weird. I know. Did I save it under Utah? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that map. We'll share that with you too. The map of how much land China has bought. And I'm curious to know if that happened under Spencer Cox. I need to validate that, so I don't want to give misinformation because I do not believe in that. Okay, here we go. Let's pull these up. Is it not going to let me put it in read mode? All right, here we go. Let's pull this up. Well, yes, Julian, I am 100% with you. I believe that transhumanism is augmented reality. I think the thing is that people, when they think of, I don't know, when I watch like Terminator and I think of transhumanism, I envision a person with a bunch of wires coming out of them being half man, half human. And that's how I envisioned it. And to learn that it was more like augmented reality where you're at home with virtual goggles on and they're able to there's not a lapse in time between internet. So if I were moving something right here, it would be moving at the exact same time, say in China or Taiwan or somewhere else in the world. And So yes, I agree with you on that. A lot of people, it's a hard concept to grasp. And I was kind of like, I don't really know if I really believe in this after going through all the data and all the slides. And the people who I got my information from came about it honestly. They weren't out to try to prove one thing or another. And when they come across information by accident and then they pursue it because it's important, I tend to trust that person, especially when they're not trying to monetize their channels. They're just trying to get information out to you. Don't ever go into holes. You never know if it's infected with bad stuff. JJ, I didn't realize that you were Clown World over on Twitch. And yes, I'm going to get back to doing my movie night. My garden has thrown everything off. And ever since I got a strike for showing a bad scene watching Game of Thrones and got kicked off for a week, I've been hesitant. What I really think I'm going to start doing with the movie night is I forgot that on Rumble, I can do private. I can do private viewings. So if enough people sign up on Rumble, even whoever, if I don't care, I don't have to have a certain amount of people over there to do a private stream. And so we would be able to have a chat over there and we could watch a movie and it would be private, subscribers only. I think that would be the safest way to do it and the best way. And it'll make it more fun, in my opinion. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. I need to get a hold of people and see what their thoughts are on that. And it's you end up not being able to use your Prime membership for free. It's only five. I got it the cheapest. It's only $5 to join over there if that's something that you want to do. I'm trying to figure out how to make subscribing to Rebel beneficial. Having one less platform to worry about would be nice as well. Movies are my funnest time, and maybe we'll do one tonight. I don't know. Let's see. And I'm sorry, guys. My nose is so itchy. I've been out in the garden all day. Okay, let's get back to what we were talking about here. I'm going to pull this up. I was rather disturbed by this. I don't want to have... Well, let me pull it up. All right, so this is what can you guys see? Hopefully you can see that okay. It's not allowing me to scroll up on, oh, there we go. Let's just put it in this format. I don't think you can see anything. Oopsies. All right, let's just close that out. Okay, there's nothing private on here. That's weird. Okay, anyway, so this was taken down. This was a post made, I think it was to Instagram. Why this happened? It looks like you shared or sent symbols, praise, or support of people and organization we defined as dangerous or followed them. So right now, we are 4 days out from the primaries in Utah to decide who's going to be our next gubernatorial candidate for the Republican Party, and they are being suppressed. So people simply posting Phil Lyman logos on Instagram getting penalized for dangerous organization. And so this isn't a conspiracy, right, guys? Right? I should be able to support whoever I want without being dinged. They're taking that down on Instagram, guys. This is the world that we live in. I honestly see two platforms where we even have any modicum of free speech. It's Rumble and it's X for now, right? They even still have things happen, which is fine. I play by the rules. I don't cheat on there. But it's going on. If they don't like you, they're going to figure out how to make it so your message doesn't get out there. So that was one. Were both of those on Instagram? Okay, for some reason I thought there was more of those. So right now, X and Rumble are about the only places that you can advertise if you're running for government. And I'll tell you right now, let's see how many followers Phil Lyman has. Let's just take a look at this real quick, even here on X. And he is a candidate. So let's pull this up on full screen. Right now, Phil Lyman, he only has 7,000 followers, and he should have a lot more than that. Like, honestly, I feel like he should. He's been a member since 2013. So even as a member with 7,000 followers, he's posting nonstop all day long. So that post got 5,000 views. And how many days ago was that? So that was June 20th. So that was yesterday. And and it's pinned. It's pinned to his highlights 2 hours ago. That one's only got not 844, 3,000. That one did pretty good, but it was a quote post. Oh, yeah, how about that? Right there. So Deidre Henderson, right there, they're spent how much did they spend on that campaign? Oh my gosh, it was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. To let us know here in Utah that our elections are fair. There's no corruption going on. Why do they have to advertise for that? Why? Why are they having to tell us that they're free and fair? Give us the signatures. Prove it's fair. Okay, well, I just want to let you guys know the shortfallings. And I've noticed that he has slid quite far, not quite far, but he should be getting more impressions with the amount of posts that he makes, and that's my opinion, right? I don't see him swear on here. I don't see anything bad. Maybe he uses too many hashtags. I don't know. He's a candidate, and if he's being suppressed, it needs to be fixed right now. And we'll take a little pause right here to welcome everybody in my chat that's joined recently. Hi, Brimstone. No cry. I need you to log back into locals.com and you need to send me more pictures of your little grandbaby because I am excited to see those. Your elections are fair. Ignore the man behind the curtain. Yeah, there's no man behind the curtain, guys. Our elections are fair, right? But you know what? Let's pull that up real quick. I want to pull this up from last night because I'm a nerd. And when my brain can't solve something, it spins and spins and spins until it can have a conclusion. So last night when we were doing that video that I posted with you guys, I wanted to verify that the vote was correct. I think that was Thomas that gave me that thread. So let's just click on that real quick. Did I not put it under his? Maybe I put it under Lime. I have like a gazillion bookmarks on X. And if you guys don't use bookmarks on X, I don't know why I haven't sooner. Hi, Aaron. Welcome. Aaron on X, Aaron Stevenson. Thank you for being here. So let's go right here. Let's check out this thread from last night because I could have swore that there was only a handful of people that voted. And so how did he get 80,000 signatures? Sorry, 80,006 signatures to be able to be put on the ballot. In my opinion, that is corruption at the highest level. Okay, that's not. Oh, here's the thread. No, that's the one for tonight. Hold on. Squirrel. If you guys don't know this about me, I'm pretty honest about it. I am very ADD. I try to keep it very in check. This is supposed to be part of a thread. Where is the rest of it? Oh, it just wants to open it like that. Okay, never mind. I think I got to make this thing smaller. Oh, yeah, if you make it smaller, it makes a difference. Okay. So weird how they do that. Okay. Just scrolling so you don't have to see all this. Making sure there's no names that you shouldn't see. Okay, I'm trying not to be silent, guys. I know that's the most annoying thing, so I just don't want to talk aimlessly. Where the heck is that thread at? Oh, here it is. Is that it? I want to see the post that has. One thing I'll tell you guys, don't ever get old to where you can't see. It's the worst. All right, I'll have to look it up later while we're going through some of this other stuff, guys. But the whole entire point was that, from what it looked like, there was less than 4,000 people total that voted in the race. Phil Lyman won with more than 67%, and Cox lost the caucus with less than 32%. So they might not be a total sample size. I don't understand how the caucuses worked. I was trying to learn it. I need someone from Utah who's good with this to teach me because I'm going to start getting involved. And if Phil Lyman gets gets in this election, I'm going to go hard because I know that what he stands for, I believe in because I have vetted him. I have dug. Someone told me, "Oh yeah, Phil Lyman, he's the best. You should vote for him." And I'm like, "Really? What does he stand on this? What does he stand on that?" He couldn't give me the answers, so I dug to see what he stands on. He is against one world government. Number one, he is against them taking our land from us. Number two, he's against DEI. Three, he is against spending our money on stupid stuff that doesn't help our state. That's four. Okay, those are just the most important ones for me. And corruption. I don't see corruption. And he went to jail for having a protest on private land, which he had permission for. He got permission to do a protest, and he made sure that he did not destroy any of the land. So you get permission to do a protest. They give you the key. They unlock the gate. You do your little peaceful protest going through the land on your ATVs. You left it the same as where you entered it. And then you're arrested with felony charges. And what do those felony charges do? It makes it so you can't run for a higher office, from my understanding. So why did they do that? Did they know he was going to run for governor? I don't know. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with people locking up opponents, right? What is Biden doing? Locking up political opponents. What is Cox doing? Locking up political opponents. They're the same. I don't want any more Democrats or rhinos. And there's not right or left, guys. That whole thing is gone. At this point, it's good versus evil. I'm just seeing a lot more people from a different side that appear to be more evil. And I'm not saying that they all are. I'm sure there's good ones out there. Just the ones that I'm talking about, I believe are evil. When you have this agenda, I see you as evil. Okay, I'm going to pull up this thread from I do not know how to navigate a computer. I do know how to navigate a computer. I don't know how I navigate X from my phone, and I know where everything's at, and it's really quick and easy. The bookmarks are in a different spot. Oh, I saved it over here so I didn't have to find it. Duh. Okay, so I'm going to read this really long thread, and it's going to be long. And you know what? I really hate that I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to use the ladies' room really quick. And this would be a great time to have a co-host. And I can't play any music because I'm on Rumble. Hi, Steve Mac. Welcome. You changed your profile picture. No, that's not Steve Mac. That's a different Mac. Hello, Leonardo Liberato. So, guys, I'm gonna mute my cam, and I'm literally gonna be like 30 seconds tops. But I have to go before I start reading this because I don't want to stop once I start. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, guys. There's nothing worse than silence. And if I wasn't on YouTube, I would have played some music that I know is not written or copyright, but somehow they want to strike me every time I play it. and I didn't realize it because I paid for it to not be. So we'll deal with it. Okay, so we're going to pull up this thread here. And I don't know who this Thomas Stevenson is. I don't know what role he plays. All I know is I ran across him probably 2 weeks ago. Let's pull up his name so you guys know to follow him. When I use other people's information that does great work, I like to give them credit. This is his work. It's something I believe in, but it's his work. So let's give him credit for it. Why is it showing that screen? I do not know why my face is itchy. I think I'm having an allergic reaction to something in the yard. Okay, so we have Thomas Stevenson, and he did an amazing thread. And I'm telling you that I've covered the whole social emotional learning. That's what they are intentionally doing to our children right now. Instead of making them logical, critical thinkers, they're making them emotional. In our education system, it's like, oh, today you want to be a girl. Okay, well, everything's going to be just fine, right? And boys and girls are teaching, boys are logical by nature, and females are emotional by nature. It's just the way we are. Men are better critical thinkers. I've been taught and I've learned to become a critical thinker, but by nature, I'm emotional. I'm a girl. I vent. I cry sometimes. Boys, they're logical, they hide their feelings, and they can think through things. So our education system is taking this away from our children. So social emotional learning, which is SEL in Utah schools. A thread on Governor Cox and Tim Shriver. And I don't know who Tim Shriver is. I need to look into who this person is. And I hope my kid doesn't come in here and yell something because he's really famous for that when he gets off work. Okay, let's see if I can pull this up over here. So I can be reading at you and not. Okay, this is gonna work. Okay, for those of you who do not know who, oh good, he's gonna tell us who he is. I've read this before, I should have known this. For those of you who don't know who Shriver is, he is a Democrat and part of the Kennedy family through, oh, Shriver. Okay, Shriver. Okay, now we know who that is. Through his mother. This is him giving the Utah speech in 2023. He and Cox have a history together surrounding education and SEL. Great day of learning from Tim Shriver and Lieutenant Governor Cox, and presenting our district's great work with social emotional learning. Loving the work, the Grand American Hotel. And that was August 8th of 2019. Shriver is the chairman of the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, or CASEL, the organization that began SEL in the mid 1990s. Okay, I was just telling you guys that Nancy Pelosi made some. I just watched. I should have pulled it up, but I've pulled up a lot of videos. But she did a speech in 1992 supporting this type of thing, and it's all for paving the path for a one world government. That was 1992, guys. That was 32 years ago. Think about that. 32 years ago, they started. I mean, the plan was already in place, but they were starting to figure out how to implement it. He is also the CEO and founder of the so-called Dignity Index based out of Utah. Dignity Index. They've actually done apps about this. Let's see what this says here. Okay, so who is Dignity Access? Let's see who these people are. So they have ease divisions, prevent violence, solve problems. We formed Unite in 2019 to find ways to help ease division in the country. In 2021, we began developing the Dignity Index, an 8-point scale for measuring how we talk to each other when we disagree. Oh my gosh. Disagree better. My brain is reeling right now. In 2020, we began developing the Dignity Index, an 8-point scale for measuring how we talk to each other when we disagree. What does that make you guys think about right now? I'm thinking of social credit system. They have found a way, and they started these experimentations, I think, during the Obama administration. They started doing these experiments in Utah to grade people and give them a score based off of their social index or dignity index. They started doing this already. They started experimenting a while ago. I did not realize that they've already started implementing it. Holy crap. Our faith in the index is grounded in a few core beliefs. Contempt causes division, dignity eases division. If we put a spotlight on dignity and contempt, we will use more dignity and less contempt. No, guys, I can have contempt. I can disagree with you, and we can agree to disagree. Like, okay, if we show Americans how they can help ease our division, they will jump on it. They're intentionally dividing us. How is this helping us whatsoever? In October 2022, we publicly introduced the index in Utah during the midterm elections, scoring political speeches on a weekly basis. Oh my hell. The index was seen as reliable, fair, intuitive. Yeah, I'm sure they're using AI, so how fair is that? Voters from opposite ends of the spectrum were able to agree on scores, and the media covered the index eagerly on TV, newspapers, and radio. In the Utah Project and the response since then, we've identified 3 findings that give us confidence the index can make a national impact. They're starting this in Utah. They're going to want to implement this probably nationwide and then globally. The electrifying effect, the mirroring effect, the agency effect. Okay, so the electrifying effect. The index triggers a striking demand among people for briefings, training sessions, public speeches, circular materials, and workshops. The mirroring effect, at first, observers treat the index as a tool for judging others, then find it as a mirror for seeing themselves. The agency effect. When people spend time with the index, they discover that contempt is the problem, that they contribute to it, and they can take action to help solve it. Okay, I want to know what their definition of contempt is. Our work to scale the index relies on 3 core initiatives. We are launching Students for Dignity groups at the nation's universities. Okay, universities, that's a big red flag. That has, yeah, we already know what universities does. Beginning with the charter group of the University of Utah, which I've just learned the University of Utah is one of those schools that is part of the problem. Like I said, I live in Utah. I think my state's great. I think everything's perfect here. And my head's been in the sand for a lot of years. These groups will be a centerpiece of the effort to scale the Dignity Index nationally. We are designing online training courses, workshops, materials, and cultural change tools for individuals and groups who want to learn more about the index and to use it to help change behavior. So, the big thing is being able to change behavior. They have been studying this, guys. They've been studying this for a very long time. And they were doing it with our children before they started. This was pre-K. Okay, so I'm just going to read that paragraph over. I don't want to start mid-sentence. My apologies. I should not have eaten a carne asada taco. Okay, we are designing online training courses, workshops, materials, and culture change tools for individuals and groups who want to learn more about the index and use it to help change behavior in their communities and families and embrace a dignity culture in the workplace. So what they're wanting to do is change your behavior to be a certain way, to be the way they want it to be. They're taking away individualism, in my opinion. We are working with developers to create AI tools, that journalists can use to score political speech, browser extensions that people can use to keep contempt out of their news feeds, and apps that can flag contempt in personal messages before users post them or send them. Does that kind of sound like when on X, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but you send a post and hi, cool frog, welcome. So you're on X and you send a post and it says, people don't normally send posts like this. Would you like to click send? Okay. Do you want to be banned for 7 days? Or do you want to delete it and reword that? Right? What are you going to choose? So that is modifying your behavior, gearing you toward a social credit system. My opinion. The North Star. Inside 10 years, dignity will be seen as a winning strategy in politics and policymaking, and how we treat each other will be seen as a mark of patriotism. Okay, I'm patriotic. Stay the hell out of my house. Stay the hell out of my family. I can disagree and I can have all the conflict I want. I don't have to have patriotism the way you do. Okay, a measure of well being and a key indicator of the future. So the team is, let's find out who this team is. Oh, Tim Shriver. So Unite. Tammy Pfeiffer, Chief of Staff. Then we have Tom Ross Hurt, or is it Ross Shirt? Weird. Oh, guys, we got Misha Lorado Robinson. It's really surprising that we don't implement DEI and we're not doing anything in the state. But look at who. All right. Then we got Marianne Veray. Then we got Madeline Jones and Preston Brightwell. I don't know those people. Oh, they have a science advisory board. Let's check these guys out. They've got Dr. Ray Block, so from Pennsylvania State University. If I remember correctly from our MK Ultra nights on X with Bill Elmer, Pennsylvania State University is one of the places where they have conducted several of those experiments, which started in 1953, and they continue year to date. I've met plenty of the survivors. I've been on spaces with them. Dr. Shanna Guderian, Syracuse University. I'm not familiar with that one. Oh, Harvard is another one where they implemented those experiments. So that was Dr. Donna Hicks. We have O'Neill Risk Consulting and Algorithmic Auditing, University of California, Fordham University. Okay, so they have a pilot. So this is a pilot program, guys. They are starting this in Utah. I'm telling you right now, they're going to try to implement this nationally and then globally. Or maybe they've done it globally already and they're trying to do it here nationally. Don't know which. Former Gary Hubert's on the board? What the actual heck? This is why my friend that is high in politics was rooting for Cox. She loved this guy. And when I brought up Phil Lyman's name, she's like, oh, I don't really. I'm voting for Cox. Lyman is kind of out there. And then I start learning who Lyman was. And I'm like, hell yeah, he's out there. He's American and he supports my values. And I will vote for that person all day, every day. Okay. I just lost all respect for him, by the way. I'm just trying to see if there's any big names on here. Levitt. They own all the mortuaries here, which was really big. They made Utahns have to be buried in a vault and in a casket. It was huge business for them. Deseret News. Okay, so we've got a newspaper on there. That's Operation Gladio, which encompasses Operation Mockingbird. All right, we're not going to go through all those names. I just wanted to have an idea of who these people are. I wanted to make sure that I could still see the screen. What the actual HE double hockey sticks? That's all I have to say about that. Let's take a look at the chat real quick. Sorry, what I read, I'm not very good at looking at it. But before we continue on to our next article, let's take a break. Hi, CRX4207. Welcome. Yes, Panopticon videos talked about it, but I remember Penn State. I'll have to ask Colonel Towner. She'll know. She'll tell me. And I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Welcome Chavez Flexington over there on X. I'm making sure I'm not missing anybody. Once again, guys, I want to thank everybody who is watching right now. I'm not one of those people that sits and stares at my numbers while I stream. I probably should, but I don't the information that I put out is really what really matters a lot to me. And this matters to me because I want to have grandchildren and I want to have great grandchildren. And I don't want them living in this world. And I never thought in a million years that my state would allow someone to come into office that was not who he said he was. Okay. So you guys just learned what dignityindex.us was. And I know that they started these experiments in Utah and they start with poor families. The way it's going to be is okay, well, if you sign up for this program, then you're going to get a tablet for your child. And they can be able to learn from home and they'll be smarter. And then it's going to turn into, well, if you don't do this program, then we're not going to give you food stamps or financial assistance, right? So these people who are in between a rock and a hard spot sign up for it. They don't really know what they're signing up for, and then it goes from there, and there. And it starts with one thing at a time. They use to coerce these people to participate until it becomes the norm. They are going to start with these. I'm a firm believer that they are going to start these programs on these immigrants. They're going to come in here and they're going to say, well, if you want to be able to get hired at this institution, or if you want to get hired at this bricklaying company, you need to sign your children up for this. And so what are you going to do? Feed your family or sign up to this program that's going to track all your kids' data, that's going to use social, what is the correct term he used? So that term is new, so it's not into my vocabulary brain yet. Dignity. The Good Dignity Index. If you don't follow the Dignity Index and you don't do what you're told, you're not going to be able to get rewarded. So it's going to train you, like social credit system, how to behave. So he and Governor Cox's wife did a podcast together with a segment on the CASEL, CASEL, and its SEL initiatives during May 2021. This podcast has now been deleted from KSL.com's website prior to the governor's race. Link to the recorded segment. But you know what, guys? The internet never dies. So just keep in mind that the internet never dies. Let's pull this up. I don't want to accept cookies. Please play without accepting cookies. Teach. Let's see. Is it going to play for me? Teach books, teachers. Okay, hold on. I've got to let me unshare this for a second while I pull this up. I don't know. I'm not certain which information they're going to ask me for to get into this program. Am I sharing the right page? Nope, I'm not sharing the right page, which is okay. Should I just unshare it now completely? Because I don't see it sharing. Yes, I did. I absolutely did. Okay, I'll share that and then remove it real quick. I just want to make sure that if I have to sign up to something, that I'm not giving you my private information. Oh, dang it. I could have swore the video played earlier. Oh, please. I hate installing things on my computer. Like, really bad. Yeah, cookies must always be accepted. I know this. To continue, you must verify this. Make sure nothing is being shown. Okay. I don't want, hopefully it's on this device. I just wanted to play that thing. Is that an ad or is that like a real thing? Oh my gosh. I swear I was watching it earlier. Oh, there it is. Why was I not doing that before? Never mind. Let's just reshare this screen. I'm special. I'm really hoping that it's going to play and I don't have to read.
Arthur Brooks into your conversation. Let him.
Okay, let's mess with the audio a little bit. Let's change the settings to amplify that. Audio. No, I don't want to do that. You guys will have to let me know if it's too loud or if I need to boost voices or if it's too quiet, okay? I can do all of those. So 1 is just fine. 2, there's some kind of an issue or you can't hear, and 5, it's blowing out your eardrums. So 1, 2, and 5.
Be a part of our.
About Castle.
Yeah.
Tell us about what it is and why it's so critically important.
Yeah, well, thank you. So Castle is just over 25 years old, founded with a group of colleagues based on the work of extraordinary scholars over many years. And it stands for the collaborative. And that's an important word because this is not an organization trying to run a field or control a field, but to build a collaborative, a collective group of scholars, practitioners, and policymakers to work on the integration of academic, social, and emotional learning. CASEL, Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. And so the first question people ask me is, what is social and emotional learning? Social and emotional learning is the process by which we develop our knowledge of ourselves and the knowledge of relationships. Our inner life, which is emotions, how we tell the story to ourselves of what we're experiencing, and our relationships. And most people will agree that the most important things determining your happiness, not to mention your productivity at work or your capacity to serve your country or your community or your capacity to be a good husband or wife or son or daughter or uncle or almost everybody will say, well, the most important qualities you need for that are emotional and social skills and gifts and supports. But we never had a curriculum. We never had practices. We never trained teachers to teach self-regulation or empathy or decision-making or problem-solving or goal-setting or mindfulness, these kinds of things. So now we have the chance to build a whole field where we can actually teach our teachers, because our teachers are hurting too.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the pain of a teacher becomes the pain of a student. The bias of a teacher can become the bias toward a student. The struggles of a teacher can be the struggles of a student, and yet the support for the teacher can be the support for hundreds of students and families. So Castle is trying to help teachers, principals, superintendents, political leaders like yourself.
I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but what they are doing when they go to emotional learning, they're teaching you to be empathetic, right? They're teaching you to be emotional. When you're emotional, you're not a logical thinker. You're going to go along. You're going to do what you're told. You understand how he's spinning this into being a good thing when it's not. We are supposed to be critical thinkers. We can be empathetic and sympathetic and still question things. They want to get us away from questioning authority. They want us just to do our job. In order for us to be corralled into these 15-minute cities, they have to condition us. They have to first condition us to do what we're told. We don't fight back. It's not worth it if you fight back because there's punishments if you fight back, right? Look at J6 people. Look at how they were made such an example. They are being made an example for what is to come in the future, just like Alex Jones was made to be an example for whatever lawsuit comes down the pipeline for anybody else that wants to report or say something that goes against the narrative. That's where I see this going. And if I'm wrong, guys, please tell me. I've put a lot of thought into this, and it's really hard for me to put these into words and try to make sense of it. But this is right here is really putting all the pieces together. That they're already have this plan in place. What we're listening to right now, guys, if you live in Utah, they took this down before the campaign. Why? If it's such a great thing, why would you take this down? Because they're lying. He's lying to us. And I hate liars. I hate liars more than anything else.
trying to help us find the best practices to strengthen the social and emotional development of our children and our school structures so that we can optimize their happiness, their academic achievement. I mean, here's one of the great things we found, Abby. If you do good social and emotional learning programs, evidence-based programs, guess what goes up? Test scores. People go, wait a second, I don't want that in my kid's school. I want my kid to learn the basics. Guess what? They will learn the basics if they feel connected, if they feel belonging, if they feel safe, if they
I want to know what evidence they have that test scores are going to go up. Are they going to make the tests easier? Is it going to be a true double-blind study? Will test scores really go up? No, because we don't all think the same. I'm very ADD. I can comprehend things. Well, I would say I'm more of a kinesthetic learner, which means I learn by doing something. So when I want to learn something, I don't do anything else. I listen to something and I'll go out and work in the yard if I really want to retain information where I don't do any reading or any other thinking skill. That's how I best learn. They don't teach. They only teach for one type of learning, right? The person that can sit still, be quiet, and behave. That's who they teach to. That's the main population they cater to. They don't want free thinkers or people who learn differently. I don't know. I don't know how their test scores are going to go up. They might, because I don't know. Maybe they will. I would like to see the evidence on that.
feel purpose. That's what we teach in social and emotional learning programs. That's what we hope teachers can learn for themselves and for their students.
Well, and I also think, don't you? I assume you hear this too, but CEOs, companies. I mean, they're saying we can teach them to program a computer, but we cannot teach them to work in a group or
that's right. We
connect with a coworker. So they're begging for.
They're begging.
We want to teach them how that they can work in a group. They want everyone just to get along. Okay. Well, what happens when you don't have someone in that group? Because my guy, he is that person that questions everything. He's like, no, this isn't going to work out. We should do it like this. He questions everything. So what does that end up doing? It makes people have to think. It makes people have to be creative, step outside the box, be inventive. I see this as a way to take individualism out of the work environment and out of the school system. I don't know, guys, give me your thoughts in the chat. Are you guys seeing it that way as well? Or is it just me who sees it that way?
I was with the head of HR at Google. Said that exact thing to me. He said, look, coders for us are a dime a dozen.
Red flag. I sat down with the CEO of Google. Google rigged the 2016 election. And if you guys don't know that, I will find the video and I will do a live stream on it and we'll talk about it. Seen it several times. And he was on Joe Rogan.
And if you don't know how to code, we can teach you. We can't teach belonging. We can't teach people how to lead a group. We can't teach people how to support one another. That's what we want our students, because when they know how to do that, they can learn anything and contribute to the company. So that's Google. I mean, for the rest of us in the more ordinary.
I'm sorry, I keep pausing in the middle of this. Do you know where people learn best to cooperate with each other? I don't know how many of you guys have siblings or have a mom and a dad. You have a bunch of personalities under one household. They have destroyed that family unit. They have totally taken that structure apart. Where do you learn how to get along? Where do you learn how to compromise? Where do you learn how to work together? You learn that at home. Since the 1960s, they have been actively destroying the family unit. Why? So that our government can teach our children. I would say homeschool your kids, but I know that's also the goal they want. They want you homeschooling your kids. They want them on devices so that they'll sign up for their learning programs and they will record every piece of data that they do all day long on those learning devices. It's getting us to that one goal But family unit, I mean, I don't know how many times you've got to Scrabble. I used to get the crap beat out of me. I'm not saying that it's right, but I did. I either learned to get along or learn to fight back, or, you figure it out. But you learn that at home with parents. Hopefully you have two parents that care about you, and not everyone has that. Yet our government has actively worked to destroy the family unit for a lot of years.
Very technological spaces. These human skills are critically important. And, Arthur Brooks, you mentioned in the book, but others, Robert Waldinger in the book, it's a 100-year-long study of happiness that they've done at Harvard. And at the end of the study, people ask, well, what is the single most important determinant of happiness? And he says it's the easiest question I'm ever asked. The only thing that really makes much difference is the quality of your relationships. So off we head into the world, and we don't expect to teach anything about relationships, and yet it's the most important determinant of our capacity to flourish. It's time we change that.
I agree.
Learning from relationships. We're not going to teach you how to manage your relationship. We don't teach relationships. He's saying it there, but he's not saying it out loud. They want to teach us how we should manage our relationships. In my experience, if you ask a man what makes him happy, peace and harmony in the home, right? Not to be nagged by his wife about everything that he's doing wrong. You can have conversations and disagreements without being contentious and without fighting. And I'm not trying to make this be about family values, yet this is about family values. They're destroying the family structure. They are teaching our kids to hate us. They are teaching our children that they can hide behind closed doors and go to a teacher, and they can go to some clinic and get hormones. That's the government doing that. Who's taking your adolescent child? Who's driving them to the clinic? Well, I'm definitely not driving them to that clinic. So who's driving them there? Who's driving them there? Some government employee who barely knows your child for a year, right? Or 9 months that they're in school. They're gradually trying to figure out how to take control of our children. And that's exactly what that guy who during World War II, that's what he did. He started all these little experiments early. He indoctrinated everyone early. Children would rat out their parents. Children hated their parents. They left their families. Think about it.
I totally agree. Let me conclude this way from this really incredible conversation. Your sister, Maria Shriver, writes the epilogue to the book, and I just think this is so beautiful. She says, we are seeking the same things. We are all seeking dignity. We're all seeking joy. We all want to be seen and to be valued, to be understood, to be loved. And this is the miracle. Even though we all want the same things, there doesn't have to be any competition around us, among us. Because of these things we want are not material goods. They are spiritual.
Did you guys just notice how she just stumbled? Did you notice that? There doesn't have to be any competition around us. And then she hesitates and says, among us. Competition is what has made America great. Why? Because that's what we thrive on. I'm very competitive. So much so that I won't play certain games around certain people because I like to win. And I will strive to be better. I will strive to be that better person because I'm competitive. But that makes me better. It makes me work harder. So they want to take competition out. All right, dignity, guys. Dignity. Dignity comes from within. Dignity comes from having your own values inside yourself. That's where dignity comes from. When I go against my core values, I don't feel very prideful of myself, and my self-worth goes down, and I don't have dignity. Dignity is being impeccable with your word, meaning you are kind to other people with your word, and you don't lie. Tongues can destroy nations, and they can also rebuild nations. Dignity is not something that can be taught. It's something that, I guess it does. Go to church. Dignity, it comes from within. Sorry, this This audio tape where because I am reading and listening, I'm retaining it a lot more than I did the first time I listened to this, and I'm catching a lot more things.
Spiritual gifts. We don't need to fight because the supply is infinite. We don't have to battle for them because when we get them, we can't help but share them. The more love I receive, the more love I give. The more those around me feel joy, the more I'm surrounded by joy. We are not separate. We are one. I think is absolutely beautiful.
That's my sister. Isn't she amazing? She published the book. She's got this fantastic Sunday paper, which I encourage people to subscribe to, that she publishes every week with stories. She says news above the noise, very much the same thread as we've got here in this book. These voices are growing. That's the good news. In our culture, as much as the voices of hate and contempt are strong, the voices of hope and awakening are growing. I hope this book, I hope your leadership, I hope this contribution on the podcast can help strengthen someone, even if it's just one person listening, to have a little more hope again and trust that walking down the street, you walk past someone, raise your eyes.
How about I read that and then I don't unmute my mic and then I just read that. So I muted that because I'm gonna get a copyright strike because of the music in the background, and I am on YouTube. Sorry. Hopefully I try to stop it in time. So I'm gonna read the rest of this. The interview's almost done, but I want you to think about what she just said right there is, let me scroll up real quick. Oh, what did she say? Well, you guys know what she was saying about being one, right? Together as one. No, guys, we're individuals. We are individuals with individual thought. That is exactly what DEI is doing, is they want us to all think the same. They want us to be the same. We're not the same. Individualism built this country. All right, they are spiritual gifts. We do not need to fight because the supply is infinite. Okay, we read that. That's my sister. She's amazing. She's like their deflection is terrible. She published the book. She got this fantastic Sunday paper, which I encourage people to subscribe to, that she publishes every week with stories. She says news above the noise, very much the same thread as we've got here in the book, these voices are growing. That's the good news in our culture. As much as the voices of hate and contempt are strong, the voices of hope and awakening are growing. I want hope. I want awakening. I want strength. I don't want to be the same as my next door neighbor. I don't want to be the same as someone who is living in California. It's okay to be individuals. It's okay to have free thought. They don't want us to think differently. I hope this book, I hope your leadership, I hope this contribution on the podcast can help strengthen someone, even if it's just one person listening, to have a little more hope again and trust than walking down the street. Okay, I trust walking down my street. I don't live in an unsafe neighborhood, and I feel sorry for those that do. You walk past someone, raise your eyes, maybe you give a smile. We all should do that more often. I did that today while I was running errands, even though I was stressed because I wanted to get back and do this show. And guess what? People are more polite when you smile at them and say hi and treat them like a human being. They are looking for the same thing for you. And maybe we can just share that a little bit more, as Maria says so beautifully. Okay. Absolutely. Thank you, Tim. This has been absolutely an honor to have you on the show today. So thank you for being a friend. Okay, so I missed the part. I was trying to go back and read. Yeah, it's not hard to be kind. Like I tell you guys all the time, and I mean this when I say it. You can only control two things in your life, and it is your attitude and your effort, right? You can be grumpy to others and make their day miserable, or you can not. Okay, so let's move on to the next little part here. Okay. I told you guys this was going to be a long thread, right? I hope I told you that. Abigail Schreier's book, Bad Therapy as well. Thank you, Robert Ford, for the $10 Rumble rant. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm going to copy that and paste it over into my YouTube so I can show that to the world because I appreciate you. All right. Thank you. I'm going to leave that up. Appreciate you. All right. I'm going to start this paragraph over. So Abigail Schreier's book, Bad Therapy, as well as many others, have made the case that SEL, so social learning, and other factors are actually contributing to the mental health challenges and anxieties that children are increasingly facing. No, they're facing the conflicts that you guys are putting into the world that they have to deal with. You're confusing the hell out of them. Resiliency is not brought by constantly thinking about your emotions. It is brought by being taught how to be a contributing member of society and to fulfill your responsibilities. I agree with that. SEL, on the other hand, teaches students to always think about their emotions. Exactly. How am I feeling right now? Am I sad? Am I happy? Do you want to know what that? Okay, not a lot of people know this about me. Let's do a little share, which I don't do because I'm very private because I'm not a victim. I don't have victim mentality. Past is past and it's gone. I will share little snippets with people if I feel it will help the conversation, and that's all. What what he's saying right there reminds me of someone with PTSD. When you have, so you guys know what PTSD is, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder. And I had what's called chronic or compound PTSD, which means I had some event in my life, and then I had another traumatic event that happened that caused my whole life to fall apart. I had to learn to live again. And I went through therapy. I wanted help, so it worked, right? I was the clown that could juggle 12 balls. And then all of a sudden one day, all 12 of those balls fell in the sand. And no matter what I was doing, I was crawling on my hands and knees day and night, trying just to find that first ball so I could pick it up and then find the other one so I can start juggling. So when you have PTSD, you're constantly thinking and feeling emotions. And when you are constantly feeling emotions, you have a lot of anxiety. And I'm speaking for myself and my experience. This is how I can explain it to you guys. You have anxiety, and that anxiety can be debilitating. It can cause dissociative behavior. So you have to learn to pick up those balls and to start juggling them. One of those balls might be emotion, right? But not all of them are. You can't constantly be thinking and feeling emotion. It makes you sick inside, like physically sick, ill, to the point where you can't eat. I'm 5'11". I weighed 127 pounds. Tell me that constant feeling of emotion and stress didn't cause me to be unhealthy, because it did, right? Okay. I don't share my personal stuff because I'm not a victim. I'm over it. It's past is past. I've moved on. But that's how I think. And that just clicked for me. That's what they're doing. They want us to be emotionally sick, stressed. And when you feel that way, it is really hard to be logical. It is really hard to critically think. Very hard. Okay. SEL exercises will sometimes explicitly relate normal school subjects to DEI, race, ethnicity focus, and other left-wing agendas. This is a facet of SEL called transformation SEL. So DEI, I was telling you this earlier, it all goes back to DEI. CASEL's website says to build a culture of equity, SEL can address issues such as privilege, power, race, social justice, and community, and help build a new system of schooling. These are usually just DEI related activities in context of SEL. Okay, let's reread that paragraph. CASEL's website says to build a culture of equity. Equity will be the downfall of our society. Just read the Gulag Archipelago. SEL can address issues such as privilege, right? White privilege, they're pushing that really hard. Power, white power, white privilege, race, social justice, Gulag Archipelago, World War II. Children would rat out their parents. Neighbors would rat out neighbors. This is getting us towards a social credit system, in my opinion. I could be wrong, and you're happy to correct me because I'm not right about this. This is where my head goes with my education level. These are usually just DEI related activities in context of SEL. Okay, the Utah Board of Education has a plethora of resources on SEL and pushes the use of SEL in the public school system. I'm going to see if this is worth pulling up. Social emotional learning overview. I'm going to read this quickly. According to the Utah State Board of Education Administrative Rule R277-100-2 parentheses 28, social emotional learning or SEL means the process through which students acquire and effectively apply the knowledge, attitude, and skills necessary to understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, make responsible decisions, and self-advocate. Uh-oh. Did I get kicked off of one of my platforms? The browser's lost connection to your screen share. Okay. Did they not like what I was just sharing with y'all? Okay, let's everybody give me a 1 if you can hear me. Am I still here? It says I'm connected on all these platforms. Okay, thank you, Julian. All right, so self-advocate. So you should be able to stand up for yourself and question things, I think is what self-advocation. Thank you, Erin, for letting me know. SEL is not a specific curriculum, but an ongoing process and initiative that schools may implement in order to create the culture and climate needed for students to feel free, connected, and be successful in their academic pursuit. Successful SEL initiatives increase students' protective factors, help build essential skills that students need to be successful. Okay, let's start that over. Help build essential skills that students need to be successful now and in the future. Help students think critically and enable students to work collaboratively with others. I do not see that facilitating an environment where that is going to help people to be more critical thinking. It could, I guess. I just don't see how they might already be just critical thinkers. All right. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate you looking out there. Does that mean I'm awesome, Ford? I'm just going to say Ford means I'm awesome, and I want to say thank you for that. And once again, thank you for that $10 Rumble rent. I do appreciate it. The USBE also cites CASEL, which Shriver chairs for many of the SEL resources. If you guys don't understand what's happening, is they are bringing Hollywood policies. Okay, I see Shriver's Hollywood. I see Arnold Schwarzenegger put in power from Hollywood. If you guys know my opinion on Hollywood, I think that they are a bunch of corrupt people. And I don't know what words I can say on YouTube, but if you know, you know. Nothing good comes out there. I have banned Disney. I have banned lots of movies that have been produced after 2000. Some I watched, but now I have a critical eye. But they're bringing this stuff to Utah. They're experimenting in Utah. Let's see what this says. I'm only putting this up for you guys to hurry and look at it. I'm not going to read it, but I'm just trying to show you all of the resources There's resources here. I will pin this thread underneath this video when I'm done, and you can go through all of these. Why am I doing this video? I'll tell you why I'm doing this video. If you're like me, I don't this would take me 2 hours to read on my own. Look how long it's taken me to read. Well, I'm a multitasker. If I can listen to this same information, know that I can look up the sources and know that they're there, then I can go about my day and I can go work hard, clean, whatever, just to listen. So I'm doing this so this information can get to as many people as possible. Guys, our election is in 4 days. This election, just like our presidential election of the United States, guys, is important. For Utah, this is probably our most important election. We can't have 4 more years of Joe Biden, and we cannot have 4 more years in Utah with Governor Spencer Cox. We are going to lose our values as a state. I see our values in this state as very family oriented. We are community oriented. We are very giving to people around us. Those, I feel, are our core values. And they're gradually trying to take our kids and raise them and take them as theirs. Our parents are a little bit more stubborn here. I think a lot of them have a bigger grasp, not all. And I'm speaking in generalities. This is generalities. There's always going to be outliers either direction. Okay, so let's continue on with our reading of this. Additionally, Shriver's at Dignity Index, which was used on politicians. Oh, really? Which was used on politicians in the Utah 2022 midterm elections, seeks to measure the amount of contempt someone has based on an AI model so journalists can score political speech. The pilot program was in Utah. Of course, the pilot program was in Utah. I'm telling you guys, they are implementing this crap in Utah. Wake up, Utah. They are doing this here. I don't know why. I'm telling you, it's because the California people are coming here. All right, in October 2022, we publicly introduced the index in Utah during the midterm election, scoring political speeches on a weekly basis. The index was seen as reliable, fair, and intuitive. I'm sorry, AI can come close. It's always going to be skewed one direction or the other. Voters from opposite ends of the spectrum were able to agree on scores, and the media covered the index eagerly on TV, newspapers, and radio. In the Utah Project and the response since then, we've identified 3 findings that give us confidence the index can make national impact. We are working with developers to create AI tools that journalists can use to score political speeches. Why? That's not the clip button I wanted. Am I not intelligent enough to listen to a political speech and to determine for myself whether it's good or not? They're treating us like we're stupid. They're spoon feeding us information. They're taking our ability to think, to trust our judgment. We are not stupid, guys. This is kind of making me pissed off. All right. I'm just going to reread this paragraph. We are working with developers to create AI tools that journalists can use to score political speech, browser extensions that people can use to keep contempt out of their news feeds, and apps that can flag contempt in personal messages before users post them and send. Okay, that was one that we already kind of read. It is apparently going to be used to keep content out of news feeds that the AI program finds to have personal contempt. Just like I was saying before, why did Phil Lyman's stuff get deleted from Instagram? It wasn't hate speech, but they definitely labeled it that. So you can tell this AI machine, hey, watch for anything that supports Phil Lyman and make it hate speech, right? Or dangerous, or a dangerous group to follow. That's bullcrap. Utah has already started to push the use of SEL, but now has moved to the Dignity Index in schools. Okay, this is where they're changing this, guys. Pay attention. So they're not going to call it DEI. They're not calling it DEI. They're going to be calling it dignity index in schools. They're changing. It's the same thing. They're just changing the way they're going to call it. Starting with Salt Lake County School District, which you can see here. Yes, save your school, DJ Trump. I will tell you this right now. Save our kids. And yes, I can read typo because I'm the queen of typo. I'm going to say this. I'm going to make this big. From everything that I have learned from covering transhumanism, the panopticon, and 15-minute cities, they want us to homeschool our kids. They want us, and I think I don't have evidence of this. This is my feeling. Well, I've been told through my evidence that this is the goal. They want our children used to being home. They want your children's learning off of tablets and programs that you can buy off of Google, right? Google is funding this project. So you'll take that tablet home. Your kid will purchase the program that your state says that you could teach your kid at home, and all day long they're on this learning, and you're supposed to be helping them and learning with them. So they're going to learn speech recognition. They're going to learn patterns, clicks, thought process. These devices don't turn off. They're going to hear what you guys talk about, how you interact. It's going to be constantly training AI. And they want you used to being home. So when they say, well, you're already homeschooling your children, so what's the big deal of having a 15-minute city? You're already at home anyway, right? Just think about that for a minute. So yes, homeschool your kids. Just don't use the curriculum coming from Google or Amazon or any of those other places. That is just my opinion. Oh, Utah's way quiet about this, Patriot Steve. I'm telling you, I'm smart and I do pay attention, but I never have focused on Utah because I'm like, nah, it's Utah. We have values, right? We have these values that we're raised with. So we trust these people that we vote into office thinking that they have our best interest at heart, and they don't. They are Democrats who decided or were, I don't like to say the G word because I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. But they train and teach these politicians to be a certain way. They'll run and be part of a certain party, even though they're not. They know they're going to vote certain ways. And we are naive. I thought this stuff was implemented here, Patriot Steve. These experiments happen here in Utah. I have I researched the church. I was born and raised LDS. I am not saying I'm active, but I was raised that way with those values. And yes, every single church, whether it be the Mormon, the Catholic, everything has been infiltrated by people. Not saying that the church is bad or the teachings are bad, but man has corrupted them. So you need to make sure that you're actually reading the books and that you're teaching that to your children and not relying on some pastor to teach your children. Because during the last days, there will come a time and a place where the churches and the synagogues will become corrupt and religion will be best taught from the home. I do believe churches are corrupt. I do believe that churches are a big funder of NGOs, which is a big factor into facilitating the transfer of children in this country through taxpayer dollars to handlers or people who do not wish them well. That is my firm belief on that. And I even though I'm naive to Utah stuff, because I think the world's good. I've woken up to the world. I know globally the world. I just have not paid attention to local politics because I'm like, nah, that doesn't matter. No, the local level matters more than the national level. National level matters, but who I vote for is who's going to represent me, supposed to anyway, under this republic that we have, as long as we can keep it. They're what's going to keep us safe. Hopefully, we vote in good people who are going to represent our values. That's why we do have 50 states, and that is why we have an electric college, right? Because they didn't want a state like California to be able to decide the values for the whole entire country. So every single person that says we should do away with the electoral college can go straight to hell. This was not meant to be a dictatorship. It was meant to be 50 individual states to form a united country, one nation under God. And they took that out of the preamble. Anyway, I get emotional about that. I don't know why I did, but I just got a wave of emotion, and I apologize for that, guys. I this is why I got involved in this. You're taking someone that could not even speak on camera a year and 3 months ago. I had a hard time speaking in a next space 3 months ago. So, there's a reason why I'm doing these, because we have a state to save, we have a nation to save, and that's it. Globally, yeah, we can global whatever. We need to focus on our country and our local areas and being good people. Anyway, now I'm digressing. Let's pull this back up and let's continue reading. But AI being used is not accurate. Just look what Google Gemini, is that what it was? You saw how well that worked out, right? Utah has already started to push the use of SEL, but now has moved to the Dignity Index in schools, starting with Salt Lake County School District, which you can see here. Okay, Salt Lake County School District is part of the poor, one of the more poor areas in our state. And that's what I was telling you. They're going to target poor children first. A speech from Shriver at the University of Utah is also featured SESschools.org Department of Education, Salt Lake City School District Dignity Initiative. I'm just going to read the summary. Like I said, I'm going to post this thread, and I want you guys to make sure, I got to pull up his name again. I want you to make sure that you are following Thomas Stevenson. This is an amazing thread. He gave me permission to use this. And so you should follow him. Is at Real T Stevenson on X. And I don't know if he has YouTube channel or anything like that. I need to ask him and find out. All right. Shriver is also a frequent guest with Cox's Disagree Better initiative. Disagree Better is pretty much dignity index. That's what I'm going to have to say it is. I may equate the two of them the same. Shriver has also written that he sees Governor Cox as a role model. Okay. I didn't know the Shrivers were, I didn't know they were so so far leftist. Did not know this. Given the history, the USBE's resource links to CA, SEL, and SEL. Shriver getting the opportunity to test his dignity index in Utah's political races and then in Salt Lake. So I guarantee you that he's using AI to write his speeches and to manipulate people. Like, guys, that is a way that we can be manipulated. If things are skewed a certain way, they can use what words to use to get us to react a certain way because they're trying to make us be emotional. In order to get more clarification on what Cox's position on SEL is, here is the page to submit questions to the Committee on Debates for Utah. The governor's primary debate is on June 11th. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, we got through that a lot quicker than I thought we were going to get through that. So that was the article. Let me see if there was one more. For some reason, I thought there was a couple. But it doesn't matter. Learning what they are doing DEI. And he's saying that we're not doing DEI. He said he got rid of it. They're changing the name of it. I'm trying to look. Dignity Index. Okay, I want you to remember this Dignity Index. And they are doing the pilot in Utah. So it is still DEI. They're just changing it to Dignity Index. And that is important to note. Very, very important to note. DEI is where we go to die as individuals. We are individuals, first and foremost. There's nothing wrong with that. Just because I don't even like, I'll tell you this. I don't talk about stuff like this because every time I talk about it, people are like, oh, everyone sees color. Well, of course, everyone sees color, right? If I go to the grocery store before 2020, I never used to ever think of color. Like, I didn't go and see a family that was Hispanic or a family that has, that was, am I allowed to say the word black? I don't even know. I would never look at a black family and go, oh, that poor family, they're more susceptible to getting sick. Oh, my poor neighbors across the street, they're brown skin. They are good. They better be really careful and stay inside their house because if they don't, they're gonna get super, super sick and they might die. And I love my neighbors, right? I didn't look at people like that. Hey neighbor, hi, right? Go to the store. I say hi and smile. I don't sit and look at them based off of their skin color and think, oh, he's a criminal. Oh, or he might be a nice person. I never did that. However, and I think that was part of the Mockingbird part of it. I think that was part of the agenda part of it. And this is just me, my conspiracies in my head. This is me just questioning things. This is not fact. This is not for you to be like, "Oh, she's right." This is not. This is just me, like, this is just the way my head works. I just didn't see stuff like that. And everyone's like, "Well, everyone sees color." Well, yeah, we all see color, but we don't associate color. Not everyone associates color with certain things. I don't look at a person's color of their skin and think, "Oh, I wonder if he lives in a tent next to the river. I wonder if he has a really high paying job up by the mountains and gets to go fishing every day and gets to go on these fun vacations." I never used to do that. So when I say I don't see color, that is what I mean when I don't see color. And I will say that after 2020, I started to think those thoughts. And when I caught myself doing it, I went to my guy and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I never used to go to the store and be worried about someone based off what they looked like." And it wasn't by how they were dressed. Had nothing to do with that. It was just by their skin. And that's shameful. And we shouldn't. People are people. Yeah, just don't judge people. If you guys ever I'm gonna do this. I am going to do an X Spaces and I'm gonna read a book and it's called The Four Agreements. And why I want to read this book is this book was like my biggest step to healing and being a complete adult. And it's a really simple book. It's like 250 pages, big, bold writing. And it's just like a smaller book. But the things that you learn in there are the best things that you could ever learn, ever. Don't make assumptions about people, right? You don't look at someone and assume what they're thinking. So you ask clarifying questions. You are impeccable with your word, which means you are honest to other people, kind to other people, and you're kind to yourself. So you don't say negative things. Oh, I'm fat. Oh, I'm ugly. Oh, I'm this. You wouldn't say that to other people either, right? So you got don't make assumptions. Don't be impeccable with your word. I always forget the don't make assumptions. Be impeccable with your word. Why can't I ever remember the fourth? Hold on. I'm pretty sure I have the book sitting on the ground somewhere in here. I actually had my son read it when he was really struggling after he had a really bad summer last year. I know what this is off the top of my head. I'm just having a brain fart. But he had a really bad year last year. He was making really poor life choices. He got a couple speeding tickets, which was bad. His best friend, my dog died, which was really hard. Our best friend. And then his best friend died in a car accident. And then shortly after that, he wrecked his truck. And so he was not allowed to drive until he could pay for his own insurance. So he could not drive for 9 months. Anyway, he was really struggling and he was really, really low. And I had him read this book. And I think now he's doing better. But he's a boy, so he's hard to talk to. Oh, that was it. That was the easiest one. Oh my hell. Don't take things personal. That's it. So don't make assumptions. Be impeccable with your word and don't take things personal. If you're a good person, who cares what people think about you? They can make whatever assumptions they want about you. They can say whatever you want because you know yourself inside. So you just don't take things personal. People are entitled to their opinions. People don't have to think the way you think. And the fourth agreement is do the best you can every single day to live those four agreements. Some days you're going to get 2 hours of sleep and you're not going to be as productive. Some days you're going to be well rested with 8 hours of sleep and you can go nonstop. The key is to do your best every single day, to not make assumptions, don't take things personal, and to be impeccable with your word, right? Who doesn't want to live like that? Okay. I would just say I was gonna read the Onyx Spaces sometimes because I think it'd be a good conversation to read a chapter at a time and then have a conversation about it. It helped me a lot. It helped me to forgive my mom, helped me to forgive my dad. My dad had passed when I was 20. My mom had passed, when I was 34, and I had read that book a month before she died, and it allowed me to have conversations with her and to ask clarifying questions based off of my assumptions of how she felt about me based off of assumptions, right? So instead of making assumptions and assuming someone is thinking a certain way, you ask clarifying questions. So when you said I looked fat in that dress, did you really mean that I looked fat in that dress? Okay, that's a really bad example, but that's what it is, right? It's opening up communication and dialogue. Every single person has learned language differently, especially the United States. Every single state, every single county speaks a little bit differently. So the word love and marriage means something to me. Marriage means I'm going to be faithful. It means that I'm going to have one partner. Marriage means I do everything for my spouse, a family unit. Love to me, I will do anything for you. It's unconditional. I will die for you. Unconditional love. And then there's love, right? So everyone has all these different definitions of what words mean. Well, I was married to someone that his definition of love was different than my definition of love. And his definition of marriage was different than my definition of marriage. But we never had that conversation or thought to have that conversation. And once we had that conversation, well, probably should have had that conversation before. Yeah, anyway, TMI there. All right. So, guys, that is all the information that I have for the state of Utah. I'm going to tell you right now, if anything drops, I'm going to start up a live stream. You're not going to get notifications. I'm just going to just start one up. Please share this. People don't understand that they are still okay. Why does it matter that they're implementing DEI? It's because Cox said that he wasn't. That is why it matters. If he said he was implementing DEI and he wasn't doing this backhanded deal to figure out how to still implement DEI, not a big deal. He's not being honest. And if he's not being honest with his constituents, what else is he not being honest about? He knows that DEI is a hot topic, especially in Utah. He knows that having that bill that he, excuse me, that bill that was passed and approved to not have um, male males that identified as females participate in women's sports, it passed. Not to use the bathrooms and stuff. He vetoed it. He's allowing men to compete in women's sports, okay? He's not being honest. He's not being honest with our values that here in Utah is family. The family unit is important, and he's going against that, and he's lying and saying that he isn't. He is using these AI models to know what to say to us, what to print in the newspaper. Go scour the Utah news. You're not going to find very much negative about Spencer Cox. Yeah, I thought, I didn't really like Spencer Cox, but I didn't really think negatively of him. I didn't dig either. But if you dig, the information's out there. You can't find it on Google. You're not going to find it there. You're definitely not going to find it on Instagram because if you support Phil Lyman on Instagram, they're going to suppress it. They're going to take it down. It's going to go bye-bye. All right. I'm going to end here after. So tomorrow night is the night I listen to MK Ultra. I'm probably going to do a stream. I'm going to be doing some digging, hopefully to keep bringing information about Utah because the primaries are in 4 days. And these primaries matter this year in Utah. They matter this year in Utah. I like being an independent. Because I don't believe there's a right or there's a left party. I don't believe in Republican or Democrat. I switched parties just so I could vote Republican in this election to make sure that I could vote for Phil Lyman. He won. He won the caucus. 3 of the 4 people want Phil Lyman. And Spencer Cox somehow pulled 81,006 votes out of thin air and he won't prove to anyone about the signatures. And the company that approved the signatures, 2 of them are under investigation for fraud, right? And that's the reason why they can't release the signatures. This election matters on all levels, local, state, national. It matters this year. And trust me, I'm just like, let me live my life. Let me just go work in the garden and go camping. Like, just let me be. I don't need all this other crap, right? So I'm going to use my voice. I'm hoping that you will share this with people. Sorry, I'm multitasking trying to pull up a banner so I can bring us out of this show. All right. Guys, if you want to donate to me, it's not a requirement. It is just always appreciated. One, you can go to Venmo or you can go to Cash App. It's Talk with Sally, and there is a picture there, so you'll know it's me and not someone else. You can also subscribe to Rumbles for $5, and I think Robert missed this, but I might move my movie night from Twitch to there and make it, they will be private. It'll just be for subscribers only. I think that's how I can do that and watch fun movies. Anyway, or you can go to locals.com/talk with Sally, and you can subscribe for $5 there. I do have a 24/7 chat going. I'm really bad at being in there only because there's like 1 or 2 people in there at a time sometimes, and they probably don't like talking to themselves, and neither do I. So hopefully that's going to grow and we can start talking in there. It is completely free speech in there. The only rule I have is no nipples, vajayjay, or buttholes or wieners. Okay. Don't want to see that stuff in there. Pretty much you can say anything else as long as you're not targeting someone or going after someone. So memes, speech, whatever, it's free in there. The chat is behind a paywall, and every time I do a new stream, they are, and no gorp, that's the same thing. They are deleted after I go through and steal all of your amazing memes to use for later. And I will honestly say that I do that sometimes. So if you ever see a chat that's still up, no, balls are not okay for it. Those are considered wiener. No wiener. I don't want to see balls, wiener, nips, buttholes, or vagina. I don't want to see that. All right, did I get everything? Make sure you're following me on all those platforms as well. Share my content. Leave comments of how I can do better. Constructive criticism is always better than just saying that was crappy. Tell me how I can do better. If you want something different, just let me know. And if you like this kind of more political content, this is kind of more what I've been working more towards doing. I've always just been afraid to speak my opinion, and it's my opinion, agree or disagree. But I've always been like, I just don't want to ruffle any feathers. Let's just go along. Let's just be happy. Um, did I get everything? I'm just scrolling through to make sure I got everything. Oh, Monday or Sunday night, I'm planning on doing our next installment of MK Ultra. If you are on YouTube, I'm going to try to do it at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. It will not be on YouTube. It will be on Rumble and X only. And I really think it's because someone in the chat was talking about things. Guys, they have AI. My words are important to what I say on there. Also, you can't say things in chat about stuff about 2020, about certain things. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you're not someone who gets censored and you don't really have to worry about it. But it gave me a warning, and I've never had one because I'm usually really careful with my words, which I hate being. And when I cover MK Ultra, I don't want to guard my tongue. I want to speak about things as they are. Oh, can I pull that up? I don't know if I can pull that up. Ford over here on Rumble chat is saying I would like the girl. That's not quite the same, but that's kind of funny. Everyone in my chat last night was talking about girl. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? And Julian's like, I'll send you a video later. And so I see a couple posts, not very many posts about it. Then finally he sends me a video, and I just about died laughing. She was the cutest girl too. It wasn't like, it didn't look staged. It just looked funny. Guys, if you live in Utah, follow me on X. I will follow you back as long as when I go to your page, I don't see nipples, wieners, buttholes, or vagina. I will follow you back. I don't want to see that stuff, so I will mute you. And if you ever send me that stuff, I will block you. Okay? Because that's not what I'm there for. You can keep that within your little circle that wants to see that stuff. All right? Okay. With that being said, guys, I am going to say goodnight. And I did say balls. Julian, do you want me to say balls again? Okay, let's just say it, guys. If you're on X, I will follow you back, especially if you're a farmer and you're a service member. I will follow you back. But I don't want to see balls, wiener, buttholes, vagina, or nipples. I don't want to see that. You can just keep that to yourself and your little friends that like to see that stuff. Yes, and do you know what Patriot Steve? Patriot Steve says, "I'm just glad all you younger folk are awakened. Back when I first started researching, we were called crazy. Yes, which Alex, yes, was the instigator. Yes, yes. And you know what? My 19-year-old son and his friends are wide awake. I actually ran into one of them at the store because they haven't seen me for a while because my son has a girlfriend and that puppy love little stuff. You thought your DMs were crazy? I've gotten some weird stuff, Aaron. I trust me. One day Julian was like, "I'm so jealous of how so many people DM you." Like, and he meant it jokingly, right? I'm like, "Oh, you want to see what I get sent?" So I took a screenshot. He doesn't say anything about it anymore. He's like, "Okay, never mind." But anyway, yes, Patriot Steve, my son, and his friends are awake. We've actually had very long campfire conversations about very deep stuff, and they're very intelligent. And I was telling you that my son has a girlfriend, so I ran into his one of his friends at the store. He's like, "Would it be weird if, even though Taylor has a girlfriend, that we just come sit by the campfire and just kind of like had our old conversations?" Because I was the house that the boys come talk to, and it's not in that weird way. It was that they would come to my house and I would ask, "How's your day? How's life? How are you doing?" And their parents didn't do that. At first, they're just like, "What? Oh, am I in trouble? Like, did I do something wrong?" No, I just want to know who these kids are hanging out with my kid and are they good people? And you do that by having a conversation. But they're like, "We just really miss having conversations." So anyway, it was kind of cute. And then I was going to end, and then I got distracted by who said "huck to it." That was Ford. Of course, Ford got me distracted. Okay. Um, Remember, guys, there's only two things in this life that you can control, and it is your attitude and your effort. You can work hard or you can be lazy. You can react well to something or poorly to something. That's it. That's the only choices that you have in life. So control the things that you can control, and don't try to control things that you can't, because you can't change other people, and you can't change events that just happen out of the blue. So with that said, guys, I will see you guys all very soon. It's early. I might join someone's X space, or I might just start my own and just have a chill conversation. I will send out messages and see who wants to join. See you guys soon.